1976. Las Vegas, Nevada. $3,900,000 in cash vanished from a cartel's casino vault. The safe, a 1-ton steel beast secured by dual locks and round-the-clock guards, was deemed impenetrable. Yet the money was gone. Before we dive into this story, ask yourself, how do you pull off a heist of this magnitude and leave no trace? Las Vegas in 1976 wasn't just neon lights and slot machine chimes. It was a city where every corner reeked of corruption, and every big win cast a shadow of the cartel. The Golden Eagle Casino, perched on the edge of the Strip, was the heart of the Salazar cartel's operations. Its facade, a gaudy Art Deco structure with gilded columns and red carpets, drew gamblers by the thousands. But the real game played out in the basement behind thick concrete walls, where a Mosler Titan 700 safe stood. A steel giant 4 feet tall, 3 feet wide, weighing 1,200 kilograms. Its 10-inch thick door opened only with a mechanical combination lock and an electronic key carried solely by General Edward Ted Moore. According to casino archives, the safe held black cash, off-the-books funds fueling the cartel's operations from bribing local officials to smuggling across the border. In August 1976, it contained $3,900,000 in cash, stacks of $100 bills, packed into 20-kilogram sacks, each sealed and numbered. The casino was a fortress. Surveillance cameras, rare for the time, recorded every entrance and exit. The security team, 12 armed guards, patrolled in shifts, logging every movement in duplicate journals. The basement vault room, accessible only through a steel door with a punch code lock, was under constant watch. The surrounding area, dimly lit corridors, a creaky freight elevator and a back alley parking lot, buzzed with the hum of the city's underbelly. Cigarette smoke lingered in the air, and the faint clink of coins echoed from the gaming floor above. Why the cash? The money was tied to a covert deal, a payment to secure a military contract for arms smuggling across the Mexican border. General Moore, a decorated Vietnam War veteran turned cartel financier, oversaw the funds. His office, a mahogany-paneled room above the vault, was adorned with war medals, a ticking grandfather clock and a faint scent of bourbon. The safe's location was no accident, hidden yet accessible. It was the perfect hub for the cartel's dirty money. General Edward Ted Moore, 58, retired military officer. Moore was a man of contradictions, a war hero with a chest full of medals, now neck-deep in the cartel's world. His sharp suits and commanding presence masked a growing paranoia. "If I'm honest," he wrote in his journal, "I'm tired of the shadows. But the money keeps me here." Divorced, estranged from his daughter, and living alone in a gated Vegas mansion, Moore's wealth couldn't fill the void. His role gave him sole access to the safe's electronic key, a palm-sized device he kept chained to his belt. But his drinking habit, 2 whiskeys by noon, made him sloppy, a fact not lost on those around him. Lydia Crane, 34, casino accountant and inside accomplice. Lydia was the numbers genius behind the casino's books, a quiet woman with a knack for spotting discrepancies and hiding them. Her access to the vault's logs and schedules made her indispensable. But her motives ran deeper. Drowning in gambling debts, she saw the heist as her way out. "I'm not a thief," she told herself in a late-night scribble, "just someone fixing a mistake." Her nervous habit of tapping her pen betrayed her calm facade, and her late-night calls to an unknown number raised suspicions among her co-workers. Victor Salazar, 42, heist mastermind and cartel outcast. Once a trusted lieutenant in the Salazar cartel, Victor was exiled after a failed power grab. Now a freelance criminal, he operated from the shadows, his military training evident in his precision. Lean with a scar across his left cheek, Victor was a ghost. No address, no paper trail. His motive was revenge as much as money. "They took my life," he muttered to his crew, "so I'll take their heart." His plan hinged on exploiting the casino's routines, and he'd spent months studying its weaknesses. Margaret Maggie Holt, 62, the unexpected witness. A retired schoolteacher living in a rundown apartment across from the casino's back alley, Maggie was an insomniac who spent her nights watching the world through her window. Her sharp memory and habit of jotting down license plates made her a wild card no one saw coming. "That van didn't belong," she later told police, clutching her notebook. Her testimony would unravel the heist's perfect facade. August 14, 1976. 1:45 a.m. The casino's gaming floor was still alive with slot machine jingles, but the basement was silent. Guard rotations followed a strict schedule. Every 30 minutes a patrol checked the vault door. At 1:52, the logbook noted "all clear" in the looping scrawl of night guard Tommy Reese. But something was off. The duplicate log kept in the security office showed a 12-minute gap, an anomaly no one noticed until morning. 2:12 a.m. Lydia Crane, working late under the pretense of balancing accounts, slipped into the security control room. Using a stolen override code, she disabled the basement camera for exactly 18 minutes, a window calculated to avoid suspicion. 2:15 a.m. Victor and his crew, 3 men in black coveralls, entered through the back alley where a service door had been left unlocked. A faint click echoed as bolt cutters snapped the padlock on the freight elevator. 2:27 a.m. At the vault, Victor's tech expert, a wiry ex-con named Danny Keys Malone, worked the Mossler Titan. The mechanical lock required a 6-digit combination, which Lydia had provided from Moore's drunken ramblings. The electronic key, however, was trickier. Using a jury-rigged decoder, a black market device the size of a cigarette pack, Keys bypassed the circuit in 92 seconds. 2:31 a.m. The safe swung open, revealing 195 sacks of cash, each weighing 20 kilograms. The crew moved with surgical precision. 2 men swapped the cash sacks with dummies, canvas bags filled with paper and lead weights to match the heft. A third stood watch, a silenced pistol in hand. 2:40 a.m. The cash was loaded into a stolen laundry van in the alley, its plates swapped with fakes. By 2:45 a.m. the vault was resealed, the camera reactivated, and the crew was gone. The logbook? Backdated by Lydia to erase the gap. Technical details. The heist relied on meticulous planning. The dummy bags, sourced from a local textile factory, were identical to the originals, down to the cartel's red wax seals. The decoder, a prototype stolen from a military contractor, was Victor's ace. The van's route, mapped to avoid Vegas's main drags, led to a derelict warehouse 12 miles away, where the cash was split into smaller loads for transport. The van that didn't belong. Maggie Holt, peering from her window at 2:20 a.m., noted a white van with a mismatched plate, NVX 3921. Police records later confirmed, no such plate was registered in Nevada. Her notebook, dismissed as the ramblings of a nosy neighbor, would become a critical lead. Moore's journal. In his office, General Moore's leather-bound journal held a cryptic entry from August 12. The funds must be moved. Too many eyes. Had he suspected a leak? Or was he planning his own exit? The journal, found days later, raised questions about his role. Lydia's panic. At 3:10 a.m., Lydia was seen tossing a crumpled note into a dumpster behind the casino. FBI report. The note, recovered later, contained a single line, "If it goes wrong, I'm dead." Was she coerced or covering her tracks? The ghost signal. At 2:50 a.m., a security camera briefly caught static. A glitch traced to a low-frequency jammer used by the crew. Casino tech logs. The device was military-grade, pointing to someone with access to restricted tech. Victor's past as a cartel insider made him the prime suspect. Nobody heard. Nobody saw. But the safe was empty. The air in the casino basement was thick with the smell of damp concrete and cigarette ash. The vault room's fluorescent lights buzzed faintly, casting shadows on the scuffed linoleum floor. Upstairs, Moore's office was a time capsule, dark wood, a rotary phone, and a half-empty bottle of Jim Beam. Outside, Vegas hummed with excess, but 1976 was also a year of distrust. Watergate lingered in the public's mind, and local police were rumored to be on the cartel's payroll. The Golden Eagle was a microcosm of that tension, a glittering facade hiding a rotten core. Moore's internal monologue, scribbled in his journal, revealed his conflict. I served my country. Now I serve men who'd sell it for $1. Where's the line? Lydia, meanwhile, wrestled with guilt. I just needed enough to start over, she told herself, but the weight of betrayal gnawed at her. Victor, cold and calculating, saw the heist as justice. They owe me this. On the morning of August 15th, a janitor found an unmarked envelope in a dumpster near Moore's mansion. Inside, a single sheet with coordinates, 36.1699 degrees north, 115.1398 degrees west. the heart of the Vegas Strip. Scrawled beneath, "Follow the money." Who left it? And why? The morning after the heist, Las Vegas woke to whispers of the impossible. $3,900,000 had vanished from the Golden Eagle Casino's impregnable vault. No alarms triggered. No guards harmed. No trace of the thieves. But in the dumpster behind General Edward Moore's mansion, a cryptic note with coordinates pointed to the heart of the Strip. Was it a taunt, a clue, or a trap? As the city buzzed with speculation, one question hung in the air: who could outsmart a cartel, and why? August 15, 1976. The Golden Eagle Casino was a crime scene by dawn. Yellow tape cordoned off the basement, where detectives from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department swarmed the vault room. The air was stale, heavy with the scent of industrial cleaner and lingering cigarette smoke. The Mossler Titan 700 stood untouched, its steel door gleaming under flickering fluorescence. FBI report: initial sweeps found no fingerprints, no forced entry, no signs of tampering. The safe's dual locks, mechanical and electronic, were intact, suggesting an inside job. Historical context: Las Vegas in 1976 was a city under scrutiny. The FBI had been probing cartel influence in Nevada's gaming industry for years, and the Golden Eagle was a known Salazar stronghold. Local police, however, were less reliable. Rumors of payoffs ran rampant, and trust in the department was thin. The heist wasn't just a theft, it was a public embarrassment for both the cartel and the authorities. The investigation's lead, Detective Carla Reyes, 39, was a no-nonsense veteran with a reputation for cracking high-profile cases. Her team cataloged the scene. The vault's logbooks showed a 12-minute gap at 2:33 a.m., inconsistent with the duplicate records upstairs. The basement camera's 18-minute blackout was another red flag. Police records: the camera's wiring was untouched, pointing to a manual override from the control room. Reyes' first question: who had access to the override codes? Outside, the back alley was combed for evidence. The dumpster where the cryptic envelope was found yielded little else. No prints, no fibers. The coordinates: 36.1699 degrees north, 115.1398 degrees west, pointed to a busy intersection on the Strip, near the Flamingo Hotel. FBI analysis: the note, written in black ink on plain paper, offered no forensic leads but suggested someone wanted the investigation to focus on the Strip. A distraction? Or a breadcrumb? Grainy footage of the casino's neon sign flickering at dawn, close-ups of the vault's lock, detectives dusting the dumpster for prints. Detective Carla Reyes was a force of nature, her sharp eyes missing nothing. Raised in a working-class Vegas neighborhood, she'd clawed her way up in a male-dominated department. At 39 she was divorced, childless, and married to her job. "This case could break me," she admitted to her partner over coffee, "or it could break the cartel." Her methodical approach clashed with pressure from above. City officials wanted quick answers to avoid a PR disaster. Her suspicion fell on the casino's inner circle, particularly Lydia Crane, whose late-night presence raised questions. General Edward "Ted" Moore was unraveling. The heist had exposed his vulnerabilities and the cartel wasn't forgiving. At 58, his military discipline was eroding under the weight of guilt and bourbon. "I should have seen it coming," he scrawled in his journal the night after the theft. His mansion, a sterile fortress of marble and glass, felt like a cage. Interrogated by Reyes, Moore was evasive, his hands trembling as he denied knowledge of the safe's codes being compromised. Yet his journal hinted at secrets. "Lydia asked too many questions about the key. I should have listened to my gut." Lydia Crane was a ghost in her own life. The 34-year-old accountant spent her days buried in ledgers, her nights haunted by debt collectors. Her involvement in the heist was a desperate gamble, but now fear consumed her. "I didn't sign up for this," she whispered to herself, shredding a page from her notepad after a tense call with Victor. Her apartment, a cramped unit overlooking the Strip, was littered with unpaid bills and empty wine bottles. During her police interview she fidgeted, her pen tapping a frantic rhythm. Reyes noted her unease but lacked hard evidence. Victor Salazar, the heist's architect, had vanished into Vegas's underworld. His crew dispersed, and the warehouse where they'd stashed the cash was wiped clean. At 42, Victor was a predator, calm, calculating, and ruthless. "The cartel thinks they own this city," he told his team before the job, "but I'll carve out my piece." His military background gave him an edge. He knew how to exploit schedules, bypass tech, and stay invisible. But the note in the dumpster wasn't his style: too sloppy, too public. Was someone betraying him? Margaret Maggie Holt, the retiree who'd seen the van, became an unlikely linchpin. Her notebook, filled with meticulous observations, was now in police hands. At 62, Maggie was stubborn and sharp, refusing to be dismissed as a meddling old lady. "I know what I saw," she told Reyes, her voice firm. Her apartment window offered a clear view of the alley, and her insomnia made her a nocturnal sentinel. But her involvement came at a cost. Strange cars now lingered outside her building, and her phone rang with no one on the line. August 16, 1976. 9 a.m. Reyes' team reconstructed the heist's timeline. The vault's logs, camera blackout, and dummy bags pointed to a multi-layered plan. FBI forensic report. The dummy bags contained newsprint and lead weights, crafted to match the cash sack's heft. Chemical traces on the bags suggested they'd been stored in a dry, dusty environment, possibly a warehouse. Reyes ordered a sweep of abandoned properties within a 15-mile radius. The missing guard. Tommy Reese, the night guard who signed the 1:52 a.m. log, didn't show up for his shift on August 15. Police records: his apartment was empty, his car gone. A neighbor reported seeing Reese with a duffel bag at 4 a.m. on August 14. Was he paid off or silenced? His absence shifted suspicion to the security team, prompting Reyes to dig into their backgrounds. 10:30 a.m. Maggie Holt's notebook provided the next lead. The van's plate, NVX 3921, was traced to a stolen vehicle reported missing from Reno 3 weeks earlier. DMV records. The van, a 1974 Ford Econoline, was last seen at a junkyard 20 miles north of Vegas. A search of the yard turned up nothing but tire tracks and a discarded glove, black leather, size medium. FBI lab analysis. The glove held traces of gun oil and sweat, but no DNA tech existed to identify the wearer. The strip connection. The coordinates from the dumpster note led to a payphone outside the Flamingo Hotel. Police log. The phone's coin box contained a single quarter with a faint red smudge, possibly lipstick. Reyes cross-referenced casino staff records. Lydia Crane wore red lipstick, a detail confirmed by co-workers. Was she leaving a trail or being framed? August 17, 2 p.m. Moore's interrogation intensified. Reyes pressed him on the safe's electronic key, which he claimed never left his possession. But a security log anomaly revealed the key circuit had been accessed remotely at 2:29 a.m. on August 14. Tech consultant report. The bypass required a decoder, likely military grade, narrowing the suspect pool to someone with connections like Victor Salazar. Moore's face paled when shown the log. He knew more than he was saying. The hidden camera. A maintenance worker found a small lens embedded in the vault room's ceiling, unconnected to the casino system. FBI analysis. The device was a pinhole camera, transmitting to an unknown receiver. Had the thieves been watched by a third party? Or was it a fail-safe by Victor's crew? The discovery raised a chilling possibility. The heist wasn't just an inside job, it might involve a larger network. Lydia's disappearance. On August 18, Lydia failed to show up for work. Her apartment was ransacked, drawers emptied, mattress slashed. Police report. A neighbor heard a woman's voice arguing with a man at 1 a.m. A single page from Lydia's notepad found under her couch read, "Victor knows." Had she tried to back out? Reyes issued an APB, but Lydia was gone, her car abandoned at a gas station 10 miles outside Vegas. The investigation widened. Reyes' team canvassed the strip, chasing the coordinate's significance. Local informant tip. The Flamingo payphone was a known drop point for cartel couriers. Was the note a signal to a buyer or a misdirection? Meanwhile, Moore's journal entries grew erratic. "They're watching me. The money's gone but the debt remains." Was he referring to the cartel or someone else? Vegas in 1976 was a pressure cooker. The city's economy thrived on gambling, but the cartel's grip tightened as federal scrutiny grew. Public trust in law enforcement was shaky. Half the city believed the police were complicit. Reyes felt the weight of that skepticism, her every move watched by reporters and cartel spies alike. Reyes battled sleepless nights, haunted by the case's complexity. "Every lead feels like a trap," she wrote in her case notes. Moore meanwhile drowned his guilt in whiskey, his paranoia mounting. "If they find the truth, I'm finished," he muttered during a second interrogation. Maggie Holt, now under police protection, clung to her routine, her notebook a shield against fear. "I just wanted to help," she told Reyes, her voice trembling. The investigation unfolded against Vegas's gritty backdrop. The Strip's glitz faded in the harsh daylight, revealing cracked sidewalks and faded signs. The Golden Eagle's basement smelled of rust and despair, its walls echoing with unanswered questions. Reyes' office, a cluttered room in the precinct, was littered with coffee cups and case files, the hum of a fan drowning out distant sirens. Moore faced a moral abyss. His loyalty to the cartel clashed with his fading sense of honor. "I was a soldier once," he wrote, "now I'm their pawn." Lydia's desperation had led her to betrayal, but her fear of Victor's wrath consumed her. Victor meanwhile saw himself as a liberator stealing from thieves. "This isn't crime," he told his crew, "it's war." Aerial shots of the Strip at dusk, close-ups of Moore's journal pages, Maggie's trembling hands clutching her notebook. On August 20th, a tip led Reyes to a derelict warehouse 12 miles from the casino. Inside, traces of newsprint dust and a single $100 bill, crumpled and forgotten. But the real shock came from a hidden compartment in the floor, a burner phone with one outgoing call, made at 3 a.m. on August 14th. The number? Untraceable. The message? A single voicemail: "It's done. Meet at the dunes." A single $100 bill, crumpled in a dusty warehouse, was all that remained of the $3,900,000 stolen from the Golden Eagle Casino. A burner phone hidden in a floor compartment held a cryptic voicemail: "It's done. Meet at the dunes." As Detective Carla Reyes stood in the warehouse, the desert wind rattling its walls, she knew the truth was close. But at what cost? The heist had unraveled lives, exposed betrayals, and left a trail of questions. Who had the money? And who would pay the ultimate price? August 21, 1976. The warehouse discovery sent the investigation into overdrive. The voicemail's mention of the dunes pointed to the Dunes Hotel, a fading Vegas landmark known for its cartel ties. FBI analysis. The burner phone's call was routed through a relay tower near the Strip, but the recipient's number was a dead end, a prepaid line, deactivated hours after the heist. The $100 bill, however, bore a faint ink stamp from a Tijuana bank, hinting at a cross-border connection. Detective Carla Reyes expanded her search. The warehouse, leased under a false name, was a ghost site. No fingerprints, no tire tracks, just the lingering smell of diesel and newsprint. Police report. Trace evidence suggested the cash had been split into smaller loads, likely smuggled out of Vegas within hours. Reyes suspected Victor Salazar, the cartel outcast, was already south of the border, but the voicemail's calm tone didn't match his volatile profile. Was there another player? The Dunes Hotel became the next focal point. Informant tip: the hotel's back rooms were a hub for cartel deals, and a meeting was rumored for August 22. Reyes set up surveillance, her team blending into the hotel's chaotic lobby of gamblers and drunks. The air was thick with cigarette smoke, the clatter of slot machines drowning out whispered conversations. Meanwhile, the pressure from city officials intensified: solve the case or the FBI would take over. Grainy shots of the Dunes Hotel's neon sign, Reyes' team staking out the lobby, a close-up of the $100 bill under forensic light. Carla Reyes, now 3 days without sleep, was driven by obsession. The 39-year-old detective knew the heist wasn't just about money, it was a power play that threatened to expose Vegas's underbelly. "I'm too deep to turn back," she wrote in her case notes, her coffee-stained desk a testament to her focus. Her team respected her, but whispers of cartel retaliation made them uneasy. Reyes' gut told her the truth lay with Lydia Crane, whose disappearance felt staged. General Edward "Ted" Moore was a broken man. At 58, his military pride had crumbled under the cartel's scrutiny. The heist had cost him their trust, and his mansion was now watched by unmarked cars. "I didn't steal it," he told Reyes during a third interrogation, his voice hoarse, "but I know who did." His journal, seized by police, revealed a bombshell: Lydia met him at the Flamingo. "I saw the note." Was Moore covering his own tracks, or had he been betrayed? Lydia Crane, still missing, was the investigation's ghost. Her ransacked apartment yielded a hidden clue, a torn photo of her with a man matching Victor Salazar's description, taken at a dive bar months earlier. FBI profile. Lydia's gambling debts tied her to a loan shark with cartel connections, suggesting coercion. "I had no choice," read a fragment of her notepad, found in the gas station where her car was abandoned. Had she fled or been taken? Victor Salazar remained elusive, his military precision making him a shadow. At 42 he was a man without allegiance, driven by revenge against the Salazar cartel. "They'll pay for exiling me," he'd vowed to a contact, per an intercepted wiretap. But the Tijuana bank stamp on the $100 bill pointed to a Mexican connection, possibly a buyer for the stolen cash. Victor's plan, Reyes theorized, was to sell the money and vanish, but the dumpster note and voicemail suggested a loose end. Margaret Maggie Holt, the retiree witness, was under police protection but defiant. Her notebook, now with the FBI, detailed more than just the van. She'd seen a man in a black coat near the casino at 2 a.m. on August 14th. "He moved like he knew the place," she told Reyes, her hands steady despite the threats. Maggie's insistence on staying in her apartment made her a target, but her courage kept the investigation alive. August 22, 1976. 8 p.m. The Dunes stakeout yielded a break. A man matching Victor's description, scarred cheek, black coveralls, entered a private room with two others. Reyes' team moved in, but the room was empty by the time they breached it. Police report: a hidden trapdoor led to a service tunnel, a relic of the hotel's mob days. Inside, a duffel bag with $50,000 in cash, marked with the cartel's red wax seal. The money was real, but the men were gone. The double cross. The duffel bag held a note: "You're too late, Reyes." Handwriting analysis linked it to Victor, but the tone was personal, as if he knew her. FBI speculation: Victor had an informant in the police department, feeding him Reyes' moves. The betrayal stung and Reyes tightened her circle, suspecting even her partner. August 23, 6 a.m. Maggie Holt's apartment was broken into. She was unharmed but shaken, her notebook stolen. Police log: a neighbor reported a black sedan speeding away, its plates obscured. Maggie's latest entry, memorized before the theft, described a second vehicle, a pickup truck, near the casino the night of the heist. DMV check: the truck was registered to Tommy Reese, the missing guard. The guard's fate. On August 24, Reese's car was found in the desert, 30 miles from Vegas. Inside, his body, a single gunshot to the head. Coroner's report: time of death was August 14, hours after the heist. His duffel bag held $10,000 in cash, cartel money. Had Reese been a loose end or a scapegoat? His death shifted suspicion back to Victor, but the execution style matched cartel hits. Moore's confession. Under pressure, Moore cracked during a late-night interrogation. "I gave Lydia the code," he admitted, tears streaming. "She said it was for my safety." He claimed Lydia had blackmailed him, threatening to expose his cartel ties to the FBI. But his journal told a different story: "I wanted out. The money was my ticket." Was Moore a victim or a co-conspirator? August 25, 3 p.m. A raid on a Tijuana safehouse, based on the bank stamp lead, uncovered $1,200,000 of the stolen cash. DA report: the house belonged to a cartel rival, not Victor. The money had been sold, but the trail to Victor went cold. Reyes realized the heist was a chess move. Victor had played the cartel against itself, profiting from their infighting. Lydia's return. On August 26, Lydia Crane walked into the precinct, pale and trembling. She claimed to have been kidnapped by Victor's crew, held in a desert shack until she escaped. "He got what he wanted," she told Reyes, refusing to meet her eyes. Her story checked out: bruises on her wrists, a shack matching her description, but Reyes sensed a lie. FBI polygraph. Lydia's responses were inconclusive. Was she a victim or playing her own game? The truth emerged in fragments. Victor had orchestrated the heist to destabilize the Salazar cartel, selling the cash to their rivals in Tijuana. Lydia, coerced by her debts, had been his inside woman, but her fear of Victor's wrath drove her to plant the dumpster note, a desperate bid for police protection. Moore, complicit in sharing the code, had hoped to use the chaos to flee the cartel, but his confession sealed his fate. Cartel intel. Moore was found dead in his mansion on August 27, an apparent suicide. His journal's final entry, "No way out." Maggie Holt, the unexpected hero, moved to Reno under a new name, her testimony crucial in linking Victor to the heist. FBI bulletin. Victor Salazar was added to the most wanted list, but his whereabouts remained unknown. The remaining $2,650,000 was never recovered, likely scattered across black markets in Mexico. The heist exposed Vegas's corruption, leading to a federal crackdown on cartel-run casinos. The Golden Eagle closed in 1977, its license revoked. Reyes, hailed as a hero, retired a year later, haunted by the case's toll. "Justice feels hollow when the city's still rotten," she told a reporter. The desert wind carried the scent of sagebrush and betrayal. The Dunes Hotel's faded grandeur mirrored Vegas itself, a city of dreams built on lies. Reyes' precinct smelled of burnt coffee and desperation, while the warehouse's emptiness echoed the case's unresolved heart. The heist wasn't just a theft, it was a mirror held up to a city complicit in its own downfall. Moral reflections. Lydia's guilt lingered, she'd traded her soul for freedom, only to find herself trapped. "I thought money would fix me," she whispered in her statement. Victor, wherever he was, saw himself as a victor, not a villain. The cartel deserved it, he'd likely say. Reyes, meanwhile, questioned her own crusade. What's the point of catching ghosts in a city that breeds them? Desert dunes at sunset, a slow pan of the empty vault, Lydia's tearful confession in a dim interview room. Years later, a demolition crew at the Dunes Hotel found a hidden safe in the service tunnel. Inside, a single photo of Victor Salazar, smiling with a note, "The game never ends." The money was gone, the players scattered, but the heist lived on in Vegas lore, a testament to greed, betrayal, and the city that thrived on both.